2 years ago. One of the outcomes of it was us doing a very deep education to the elected leaders in this state. Government's very important because government funds and regulates healthcare. So that 10-week strike resulted in deep education about the lack of access to care, the violations of the law that Kaiser does every day. It took 6 months after that, but resulted in a $200 million settlement against Kaiser because their obligation was to continue care during the strike. Instead, they canceled 111,000 appointments, just like they're doing here today. But that foundation of education led us to, this week, two very significant new fronts. The first is the Speaker of the California Assembly, Robert Rivas, circulated a letter among his constituents, among assembly people, in support of our fight. And it wasn't simply a letter in support of us. It was something extraordinary and unprecedented. Several paragraphs, there's copies of this letter here for you to take. Several paragraphs of this letter talks about the violations that Kaiser is committing, the lack of access to care. And the final paragraph is, I quote, "Given this context, my undersigned colleagues and I urge you to resume good faith negotiations with NUHW as soon as possible and to agree to the union's reasonable contract." Extraordinary. Kaiser President Michelle Gaskill-Haynes got word about this letter being circulated, and she contacted Assemblyman Speaker Rivas and asked to meet with them. And that meeting happened yesterday. And I got a report this morning. You think the president of Kaiser Permanente would have some level of self-respect? No. Instead, what she parroted is the same lies that are in the full-page ads for the Speaker of the Assembly. That the issue in the strike is you don't want to care for more patients, right? Number one, patient management time. Number two, the pension that they're asking for, all Kaiser workers in the future are not going to have a pension. And the salary of our folks in Southern California is already way above market. Our generous, proposal is making them even further above market. Well, the Speaker, and then she concluded with, "So I ask you to remain neutral in this fight with NUHW." The Speaker, was fully briefed on the issues. Obviously, he circulated this letter, extraordinary letter, and rejected that request, and this morning released this to the press. And later this week, our good friend, President of the Senate, Michael McGuire, is circulating the same letter among his senators, and this week we'll have a majority of the California legislature all signed up to support us. Big issue number two that's progressing this week, and that has to do with higher talks with Gavin Newsom's administration. And our lawyers and staff have put together a summary for a potential lawsuit against Kaiser based on federal laws, parity laws for mental health care. And it's not just about access to care, these laws for patients. It's about treating mental health clinicians on the same level as the medical side. So, only mental health clinicians don't get a defined benefit pension. We're working alongside of folks on the medical side, technicians, right, therapists, on the medical side, with less of an education and less experience than you all. That's what the lawsuit's based on, and we're progressing that, again, unprecedented. Finally, I just want to say, your colleagues in Northern California that work for Kaiser, their contract expires in 8 short months. We're going to be at the bargaining table in a few months. And when we go to bargaining in Northern California, California government is going to be sitting on our side of the table to achieve a contract without a strike. So folks, I just want you to know that, this fight, some time from now, some number of years from now, we will truly have achieved real parity for mental health care, to a point where the term mental health care doesn't even exist. It's simply health care, and you all are going to be credited for achieving it.